My name is Monica Moroki from Kenya. I am an agricultural forestry economist. And besides that, when I first heard about Reviver Project, it impressed me. I was excited about that name because besides it being an abbreviation for regenerative agriculture for vocational education, sounded like a wake-up call for us to revive the degraded lands in our globe. So I've been in teams that have been restoring our degraded lands. I can for sure tell that when we adopt sustainable land management practices, it's very possible for us to heal our ailing ecosystems. Uh, One of the sustainable agricultural practices that I champion for is agroforestry. And this is where we intercrop high value trees with food crops and even cash crops. It's widely used here in Africa. And to be specific, here in Kenya, we intercrop tea and coffee plantations with high value trees. And even in some instances, we intercrop fruit trees with food crops. So I can tell that it's a sustainable way of healing our soils and also for increasing the yields for our farmers. So in a nutshell, I can say that agroforestry is a good entry point for helping reverse and even mitigate the adverse effects of climate change, and also for enhancing food security in our nations.
So as a poultry farm, there are so many activities and there are so many things you can do with the waste products from your poultry farm, because poultry farm got the diverse products. One thing you get to have eggs. With the eggs, you can crush the shells, and the shells are used in feeding other animals like the cows. Besides that, there's the waste product from the poultry farm, which entails the combination. When you start poultry farming, you get to lay down the sawdust where the chicks can sleep over to avoid the absorption of the coldness. So with that, the mixture of the sawdust, the small particles, and the food droppings from the chickens as they feed, and their excretion products, their feces, when you get to mix the three of them and then do a filtering, you get two products. You get the large particles of the sawdust and the little particles, combination of the feeds droppings, the feces, and the small wood products that are very tiny and minor, which have been decomposed due to the waste product. You get to feed them to your cows. Then the waste from the residues, which contains of sawdust, you get to use it in your farm, where you can combine with the loam soil. With the loam soil, you can combine with the sand soil, which makes your farm to be very productive in pertaining things like the permeability of your soil and the filtration rate of your soil. It's the mixture of the waste products and the loam soil makes your soil to be very healthy, and in that you can get very healthy crops, which are very sustainable and helps in regaining the land. In terms of, you can do agroforestry with the waste product. It is also organic, and as we speak now, we all want to go the organic way and not the inorganic way, where we use things like fertilizers. We want to use the organic fertilizers, which helps in not only mitigating climate change, but also in it is eco-friendly and environmental friendly and also economical friendly, because when you have a look at the economic impact of using the inorganic fertilizers, it's a bit costly. But when you have the organic fertilizers from the poultry farm wastage, you can feed them to the cows and also draw the waste to your land, and that makes your land more healthy and sustainable and suitable for your farming, and free from health issues such as the cancer, which is brought about by use of fertilizers, which are artificially made and got so many chemicals. Yeah, and another practice that we undertake as poultry farmers is the undertaking of rotational grazing, where different kind of animals give you different kind of products. So you get to combine the layer farming and the kienyeji farming, as we call it here. The kienyeji is the local chickens that got no many products, but they're cost effective because you don't have to buy feeds, and you can get to purchase. You collect all your food wastage in your house, you feed the animals. You see, it's part of the regenerative farming, agriculture farming, because nothing goes at waste in your farm. When you feed the chicks with the ugali remainings, the spoiled sukuma wikis, that's the kales and the spinach. Yeah, that is those are part of the regenerative practices.
Hello, my name is Mekati Lili. I am a young farmer, and I'd like to talk about challenges young farmers are facing in Africa, particularly in Kenya. One, in the past, people have despised farming and looked at it as an old school dirty job, but now people are embracing farming. The narrative is changing, and it is slowly becoming a very respectable job because farmers feed the world. So, but slowly it is changing, so in the right direction. The other challenge, particularly in Kenya, the farmers have very minimal access to financial services by loans, and sometimes even insurances do not want to insure farming. They call it a not so stable or solid business, so they do not want to insure or to fund farmers. And as a young farmer, for the very few businesses that will want to fund you, they will ask you for collateral. And we are young, we do not have collateral. So sometimes it prevents us from accessing the finances, and sometimes it slows down our operations. The other thing that is happening in Kenya, particularly, we're having very not so good policies, and we have been the whole training has been on regenerative agriculture, and currently the kind of policies we're having are taking us backwards into the capitalism kind of agriculture that we're trying to get away from. For example, we had a ban on logging in Kenya in 2018, and the current government lifted the ban on logging, yet we are facing climate change. This is when we should be taking all the action towards, having more trees. We should not be lifting the ban on logging now because we are essentially telling people to cut down more trees. The other thing that is also happening, we are also having like policies that are criminalizing use of organic manure. So they're trying to take us into using the harmful chemical manure and pesticides. So, we should have a change in the whole principles of where these policies are coming from, so we can move forward as a country and as young farmers. The other challenge we're also facing is markets. That slowly, we're going to find innovative ways of having better markets. So sometimes we have not so good markets where you find sometimes the price is even lower than the cost of production. A lot of times maybe you either make a loss or get very little money, not compared to the amount of effort you have put in. And there's also very high rise in the cost of production. Especially the basically farm inputs have become so expensive and sometimes inaccessible and not of good quality. So that is basically just reducing the amount you would have gotten as a business, a farming business. Yeah, basically that is it. I know we have other challenges with maybe learning, but currently we have a lot of resources where you can get information, you can learn in school now. It's taught in school more than before, so which is good. And we have the internet, yeah, so we can learn a lot. And it's good to be a farmer. I'm proud to be a farmer. Yeah.
My name is Esther. I'm a plant operator by profession. I'm still a farmer doing pottery on the side of layers. But I would like to talk about the challenges that most of the youths face. Yeah, the young farmers. Yeah, like capital, climate, all those. For that, and also education. Education is the key thing here. Like in pottery, you have to be more educative, so you have to know the good breed, the source of that breed, the management, the housing of the chicks, and so on and so forth. The other thing is climate change. Like here in Kenya, you cannot predict well the climate. Sometimes it rains for a long time, sometimes it gets dry for so long. So maybe if you plant crops, they will end up dry. Sometimes if you maybe plant, it will rain too much, everything is washed away. So those are the challenges. Me, as a young farmer, I would like to advise or to encourage other young farmers to practice on regenerative agriculture like agroforestry. If you plant more trees, this climate change will resume back to its originality, so you can predict well how the climate will be. Another thing is like mulching, intercropping, mixed farming. For mixed farming, maybe you can layer chicken, goats, cows, and so on and so forth. Because if maybe you keep like chicken, there is also crops. Some okay, chicken can feed on crops like grass, so you will minimize the cost of laying the chicks, and also you will help the soil to enrich from the poop, and so on and so forth. That is what I have for today. Thank you.